The front line in eastern Ukraine can be divided into three distinct types of terrain: urban, rural, and forested areas. Today I'll be looking at offensive tactics for rural areas specifically with the Russian ground forces. Rural areas can be separated into two types: isolated positions and fortified positions. They are differentiated by their proximity to a town or village. The positions on the flanks of a large town or city will always be heavily fortified. For instance, these three lines on the flank of Bakhmut. They are well built with dugouts and reinforcements, significantly increasing their survivability. They also have access to various heavy weapons like artillery and medium heavy mortars. Cruiser weapons like ATGMs and automatic grenade launchers will also be common. The arrival time for FPV drones will also be really short, making it costly to assault them. For isolated positions, they have poor supply lines and are far away from towns. An example would be this area close to Kupiansk. This makes their artillery and mortar call time longer and less accurate, and they lack a lot of supplies. They will often be manned by conscript and have a long delay for ground support due to their distance from the position of drone operators. This also makes the signal weaker at the point of contact, which increases the effectiveness of electronic warfare for the attacker. As such, the pre-2022 Russian Mechanized doctrine may be used in these locations effectively. In this animation, you can see how the deployment of a mechanized squad looks like. They are split into two fire teams: a maneuver group made up of 3 riflemen and a fire support group with a machine gunner, RPG grenadier, and squad leader. If it was a mechanized platoon, an additional team would be represented by the question mark icon here. It would be either the platoon leader, a PKM team, or a sniper team. Now let me show you how a single BMP assault may look like. First, a mortar would suppress the enemy position and allow the BMP to get within 100-150 meter distance. Its other cannon would suppress the position for the entire length of the assault. The two fire teams would disembark. The fire group would set up next to the BMP and provide suppression, and the maneuver group would push the position. Afterwards, the fire group would move up and both teams would clear it. Then the BMP would leave the area. Usually single squads would never do this alone. A whole platoon would be involved with each of the 3 squads doing the same maneuver as I showed earlier. First, they would push in a convoy formation, then split up to form a line at least 150 meters long. To explain why they do this, let's look at what happened before. My BMP was nearly hit by an RPG warhead from an EFU soldier. The RPG soldier had to get up from his trench, spot my BMP, aim, and fire. All of this takes time, during which I can spot him and kill him before he can pull it off. Let's say that my BMP squad had a 50% chance of spotting and shooting him dead before he took the shot. If you add in the other 2 squads in a line formation, they get 3 times more sets of eyes, and their probability turns into 87.5%. This is called using mass, a key component of Soviet doctrine. This greatly increases the odds of success of the assault by maximizing the chances of spotting the opponent and their local firepower. Now for the other type of terrain, a fortified rural position. For this type of assault, lots of artillery is used to eliminate the opponent before storming the position. Thus, howitzers and heavy mortars with airburst munitions are the weapons of choice. Here is a simulation that I ran before. This is a fortified 3-line on the Orskil front, which protects an important road. The map was remade with 1-to-1 accuracy with a special software that used actual satellite data to make the map. My goal is to storm this junction here to cut off the various 3 lines, because this is the central point where all the supplies go. I will have 3 heavy mortars shelling this area, which has likely the defenders and trenches, and the other 3 heavy mortars which shell the back 3 line here, which will have heavy weapons team like ATGMs, automatic grenade launchers. I'll use a tank to suppress the back 3 line. My BMP 2M platoon moves up to location while providing suppressive fire. BMPs drop off the infantry and proceed to run away from the FPV drones. Most defenders were killed by the initial artillery barrage. As such, my troops dig in to the position. They managed to fight off a Ukrainian counterattack from a neighboring 3 line. Thus, they secured the position. A few things went wrong during the assault. Looking at the defender's perspective, an RPG team survived the initial barrage. And right there, they almost blew up one of my BMPs. This shows you one of the issues with this type of maneuver. in heavily fortified areas. You are completely dependent on the lethality of your initial barrage. A single survivor with an RPG can ruin your day. Of course, this time the survivor missed his shot, so I managed to kill him and capture the position while taking little casualties. Thank you for watching today's video. If you found this interesting and want to see more, check out my Patreon. You can access exclusive content including this Russian Volodar assault simulation, where I applied a lot of the tactics discussed today. I made a map that's as close as possible to the real location. You will also have access to a 500-page 2024 Russian military book detailing company and battalion tactics. It's one of the most recent published Russian military books, and I translated it using machine translation. Access all of this with a subscription on my Patreon at the cost of a cappuccino. Link in the description. And also subscribe to the free tier on my Patreon and vote for the subject of my next video, either Russian urban assault tactics, jihadist tactics in Syria, or the tactics of the Tigray War with Ethiopia.